I was like, do you think I have that low self-worth that I would like someone to insult me and so go out with him? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a very scary dating story that I want to share here in Vancouver. So last night I met someone that's very narcissistic. Like, it's the first time ever that I felt scared, and I feel like, wow, this person is very narcissistic, gaslighting me the whole time. She's like 28. I will insert a clip on what happened last night. So I met him on Coffee Meet Bagels. So we arranged to meet at Starbucks around my place. I went there. I was waiting for 25 minutes. He was like, oh, like, I was waiting for a bus to come to see me. And I was like, you know that I'm waiting for you and you're like waiting for the bus instead of like walking, running, or getting Uber, and you still have me waiting, right? So it's kind of like a turn off already. I should have just left, but I didn't. It was okay. And he kept calling me like, oh, I'm sorry, like, I'm like coming now, which like, okay, very odd. So I met him. He went to buy dinner, and then we started to walk. He was like, okay, we're gonna go to like a bar, a lounge, something. So we walked there pretty far, maybe like a kilometer. So I was carded and I didn't have my passport with me. So I had to leave because, I mean, I don't know. Do I look over 19? Right, so, but I'm glad that she actually carded me because now I don't have to deal with this person anymore. Rating left and he was like, oh, where should we go? So we start walking and he's like, oh, do you want to go back to my place? I was like, no. Like, while we're walking, we had like some conversations, right? And he was like, is your place ready to like host? And I was like, no. No, he kept asking that twice. He kept saying like, do I want to go back to his place for like talk and whatever? I was like, no. I kept saying no twice. And I was still walking, and then he started to be like, oh, go to where we were walking from, or we can walk back to the Starbucks and then find a place around there. So I was like, I don't want to keep going down there anymore because it's dark, and like if it carded me again, it's going to be like dramatic, right? And honestly, I am so tired. I don't want to walk anymore. It's also raining. I mean, I don't want to walk. Call me princess, whatever. I don't care. He's like, oh, okay, how about we take a bus again? A bus back to the Starbucks, right? And in my mind, I was like, who take the bus on the first date? Seriously? Like, I'm 34. I'm not like 18. Okay? I don't do bus date. So he's like, yeah, like, oh, we can walk. So I was like, okay, fine, we can walk. And then once I started walking, I feel like it's too tiring for me. I cannot walk anymore. I rather just Uber. So I was like, do you want me to call an Uber for us to go to the restaurant or the bar? And he said yes. He wanted me to Uber us to go. At first I was like, okay, fine, maybe I'll just like Uber to restaurant. But then I was thinking like, why do I have to Uber us when like all of the dates that I went to here in Vancouver, they all treat me pretty well. They all like pick me up, drop me off, or Uber me wherever we want to go. And I was like, this guy early off. So in that case, in that situation, I decided to Uber myself home. So I was like, okay, you know what? Like, I think I'm gonna Uber myself home. Then he started to be like, why you wanna Uber yourself home? Like, we met, like we should talk, blah, blah, blah. Because I'm leaving Vancouver in like less than a week. I was like, sure. And he's like, you know what? I'm from downtown Vancouver. Like, I went to high school here. Like, I'm not like other that come from suburb, be like attractive Asians and just want to have sex with them. Like, I'm not that kind of, I don't know, like why anyone would say stuff like that. Started to being very aggressive, like verbally, okay? Verbally aggressive. Start calling me like crazy. Are you crazy? Like, yeah, he said like, are you crazy? Like 3 times while I'm calling Uber. And I was like, who are you? Who are you to call me crazy? For me to calling myself back to go back home. He's like, why are you like, you said you fine walking. I was like, I've changed my mind. He's like, if you wanted me to call Uber, why didn't I just tell him? I was like, why didn't you just offer? Like, why do I have to tell you? And when I told you that I wanted to call Uber, and I already did. He didn't offer to like, oh, let me call Uber and then we can go for it. No. So clearly he did not want to pay for Uber. So I don't want to say that he's being cheap or whatever, but yeah. So we at the bus stop. He wanted to wait for the bus. I didn't. I'm not 18. I don't need to wait for the bus. Start to abusing me verbally. Like, he started calling me like, are you crazy? You're such a bitch. You're like stuck up bitch. It's your parents like spoil you too much. So you have to act like this. Like, you think you're better than anyone else. Seriously. And then I was like, you need to stop. This is a bus stop, right? But no one's intervened. But this is Vancouver, right? So no one actually. So he's like, started calling me crazy over and over again. I was like, wow, this person is very narcissistic. Like, very, very narcissistic. Like, he needs to go. While waiting for my Uber, he's like, so where are we going? After he said all of that to me, he had the audacity to ask, where are we going? I was like, do you think I have that low self-worth that I would like someone to insult me and so go out with him? No. So I told him to fuck off. Literally, like, you can fuck off. When he started to insulted me about my status as a transgender, he's like, oh, you had too many surgeries, like your brain is so crazy and fucked up. Literally, it's like, oh, like you got your dick chopped off, you have a problem, like you have the Adam apple like removed, and like you, all the nasty things you can say. And then I was like, I started like, I'm not having this anymore, so I'm just recording. Once I start recording, like he's shut up, right? So he's like, oh, you can go, this is my town, like Vancouver is my city, you can just go away from my city. And I was like, wow, this person has the audacity to say all those things to me and said like I'm being childish and not being an adult. He said, oh, you're not being an adult at all, like why don't you just act like an adult? An adult would not call someone that he just met crazy over and over again. Would not act this kind of narcissistic behavior and trying to apologize later. So insert a clip of like, I'm just like, once he saw me filming, he just literally go. So like, I brought myself home, and then I got the bus stations. I blocked everything, like his WhatsApp, his number. I blocked like him on like dating apps. So I was like, great. And then he started texting me on Instagram. I'll show you like, and I was like, who's this person? Like, we didn't talk on Instagram. Like, so he found my Instagram and then he apologized. And I was like, no, too late. Too weird. And then he started calling me. So I pick up the first one because I didn't know who that is. So I was like, hello? And he was like, oh, I want to apologize for my behavior earlier. And I was like, and then he's like, but you know what? You were a bit rude as well. He apologized to me, but still gaslight me. And I started not having this anymore. So I was like, you need to stop, like, gaslight me. Like, you're not an adult. He's like, oh, again, like, you're not being an adult. I mean, something wrong with his head. And then he kept saying, like, this is why, like, your last relationship didn't work, because, like, you go in a loop, like, you keep, like, bringing stuff up, like, you have ADHD, you have bipolar, you have, like, sort of, you need to work on yourself. And I was like, this boy is a walking red flag. I feel sorry for him because he will gaslight the fuck out of you. Then he will pretty much carry this narcissistic behavior to pretty much push you down. Because I feel like he tried to inflate himself to be bigger than me or whatever. I don't know why. I don't know what the reasons. Right? And then he kept calling me like 10 times. He's like, oh, I wanted to talk. Like, I feel like we can talk through this. Talk through what? Like, you need to see a therapist. Like, your behavior is beyond acceptable. I felt so scared that I had to call someone I knew to stay over with me last night. Because I don't know if he knew where I live or would he stalk me or whatever. I was trying to call someone. I even think about calling Mr. Pet, but I mean, he's so far away. He's like 45 minutes away, right? So it's like Coquitlam's quite far, so I did not want to call him. And I was like, yeah, this person is like, doesn't know how to take rejection. Like, he doesn't know like when someone doesn't like to hang out with you in public or in private place, you need to accept it. And the audacity to say that I'm acting as a child is beyond. Like, he was horrible. Yeah. So this is like my very bad experience of dating here. This one is the worst. Yeah, I'm going to block him. I already did in a lot of platforms. I don't know, what should I do? I block all of them and they try to contact me over in other platform. It's beyond stalking. Literally, this is beyond stalking. Like, literally, you need to take no for the answer. When I block you, you need to know. When I don't answer your call, you need to know. We're not working through anything. You need to leave. Leave, okay? Yeah, so I think Vancouver is always fun, right? Anyway, I have fun. So someone stayed over to make me feel a little bit safer. Others feel safer with him. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will make something else next time.